Atele nada modu be alafu Mamos. Mamos media. Wala nada modu be alafu Mamos. Television on the radio la Carola. Ñun la daraja tabi. Molka ñun la winning. Multimedia, Africa, and in diaspora. Atele nada modu be alafu Mamos. Mamos media. Multimedia, Africa, when in diaspora. Wala nada modu be alafu Mamos. Mamos media. Atele nada modu be alafu Mamos. Nene bojan sangarango, oh nene. Afana be Oslo no.
Good evening and welcome to today's news review. You live on Mamos Radio. I'm your host Rohi Konatige.
Welcome to Gambia Today News Review. Listeners, you're tuned into Mamos Radio on Mamos Media. It is Friday, 29th of January 2021. I am Nene with a review of the nation's top headlines. GPA embarks on coastline erosion prevention. Officials of the Gambia Ports Authority, GPA, are currently working towards saving the country's coastlines from erosion through sea dredging. Speaking on Tuesday during a site visit with members of the press, the proprietor and founder of Sino Majilek, Omar Jang, said the journey had not been easy, but added that they are motivated to make a difference in the Gambia in terms of sea dredging. Jang further said that their intention is to do an impeccable job after surveying the area. He stated that they had been trusted and challenged by the Gambia Ports Authority. Press statement. Statement on stalemate with Independence Stadium management. Written Brikama, 28th January 2021. It is with utter dismay and disappointment that the management of ST Brikama Boyo confirms to you that the officials of the Independence Stadium refused to grant our request to use the Independence Stadium grounds to stage the Dinding Mansa album launching concert on February 6, 2021. ST's album launching is a regular fixture in the calendar year, and for the past 3 years the stadium has been the traditional venue. With that understanding, a 40% down payment was done about 7 months ago in anticipation of the event. Since then, considerable investment and resources went into planning and organizing of the mega event with the stadium grounds in mind. To our shock and consternation, on the 15th of January 2021, we received a letter from the management of the stadium under the stewardess of Mr. Ibu Fai that we will no longer be allowed to use the venue for the show. President Barrow receives China anti-epidemic experts, presides over swearing in and presents 2 million Gambia dollars to the under-20 Scorpions. State House Banjul, 28 January 2021. President Adama Barrow today received in audience the Chinese ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Mai Chan-chun, along with a team of Chinese medical experts who were accompanied to the presidency by the Minister of Health, Dr. Amadou Samate. The team was at the presidency to update the president on its role in consolidating the Gambians' gains in the fight against COVID-19 and to ensure public safety in the pandemic, as well as present medicine and medical equipment for epidemic control. For the past 3 months, the Chinese team trained frontline health workers in COVID-19 prevention, diagnosis and prevention of infections in medical institutions. They also provided guidelines and treatment for the patients in critical conditions. Government claims moratorium on deportation amid COVID-19. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad has confirmed that the cancellation of the deportation flight with 14 Gambians from Germany on Wednesday was due to the current surge of COVID-19 pandemic. 14 Gambians detained in the German prison waiting for deportation on Wednesday, 27th of January 2021, have their flight later called off by Germany authorities. According to Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson Sekou Cisse, the cancellation was based on the engagements it had with its European counterparts in Germany, he told The Point in an interview. NPP will kill most political parties. On the eve of the launch of the new party, controversial veteran politician widely perceived to be the driving force behind President Barrow's National People's Party has said that the party will eventually drive many political parties into extinction. Speaking to the Standard, Hamad Ba, whose own 24-year-old National Reconciliation Party is alleged by critics to have been the first casualty of the NPP, said the kind of politics Adama Barrow has, which is similar to that of Senegal's Macky Sall and Kenya's Kenyatta, resonates with the masses and appeals to many voters. Quote, I think the type of leadership I saw in Barrow, yes, he can get there. He's somebody who believes in the people, and people in turn take ownership of the party. I think with this policy, it should make a difference for Adama Barrow to be able to keep the NPP even when he retires, unquote, Mr. Barr, who is also the tourism minister, said. Fire service needs more fighters, mobility to curb bushfires. The Gambia Fire and Rescue Services GFRS on Wednesday told Foria that they need more firefighters and mobility in order for them to function effectively and fight against hundreds of bushfires in the country. Amadou FMJ, cadet fire officer and also the deputy spokesperson of GFRS, made a request at his office in Banjo. His remarks were in response to calls made by the Kiang residents who are living in fear after an inferno killed a 36-year-old man recently. Njai said bushfires are common in Kiang in the lower river region, LRR, saying as a department they fight it dishearteningly when they hear about fire incidents. He said 99.9% of the bushfires are caused by people within the community who either go to the bush to harvest honey as they set the fire in order for the flames to scare the bees or through accidents. Listeners, thank you for tuning in this Friday. Have a fun-filled weekend.
Thank you, Nene, for today's news review. Listeners, you live on Mamos Radio. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Good evening. I'm your host, Rohi Konatege. On today's news review, Mamos Radio takes a look at the international news making a splash in national newspapers in the United Kingdom and the United States. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Good evening, listeners. I am your presenter, Sainab Njaipa. Thank you for joining me on Mamos Radio as I take a look at stories making headline news on the UK's national newspapers' front pages this Thursday. The eye leads with a demand from the EU to receive AstraZeneca COVID vaccine doses manufactured in the UK. The UK has ordered EU chiefs to wait in line after Brussels tried to hijack UK-manufactured coronavirus vaccine doses, the Daily Express reports. The Daily Mirror leads on Boris Johnson's announcement that schools will not go back until 8th of March at the earliest. The Times quotes a senior German MEP who is apparently warning that a growing disagreement between the EU and the UK over coronavirus vaccine doses is heading towards a trade war. The Guardian says the UK and EU are on a collision course over vaccine shortages. The Daily Mail says EU chiefs are demanding that AstraZeneca COVID vaccine doses made in the UK be diverted to make up for a 75 million shortfall on the continent. The Daily Telegraph says there is a cross-channel tug of war over coronavirus vaccine doses. Metro has a heartwarming story about an NHS nurse who was so unwell with COVID-19 she did not know she had given birth, meeting her daughter for the first time after 3 months apart. The Financial Times says a request from the EU asking AstraZeneca to give COVID-19 vaccine doses manufactured in the UK to its member states risks unleashing an explosive post-Brexit political fight. Thank you, listeners. That was the UK's national newspapers' front pages. Please stay tuned after the break. We take a close look at the Metro and Daily Mirror front pages. Thank you. Welcome back, listeners. Let's take a close look at the front page of the Metro. My Miracle COVID Baby is the heartwarming lead in the Metro, as it reports on the NHS nurse who has finally met her 3-month-old daughter for the first time. The paper says the nurse has been reunited with her baby after spending 3 months apart while she was being treated for coronavirus. Nurse Eva, 30, was so sick she did not even remember having a cesarean before she was put on a life support machine, the paper further states. She spent 76 days in hospital before being discharged this month, when she was able to hold her daughter, Elena, for the first time. A picture of the smiling new mother and baby also made the front page, with Miss Eva describing the reunion as a special moment. The report continues on page 5. Listeners, we now look at the front page of the Daily Mirror, which leads with the headline, Schools Out Until Spring. Away from Europe, the Daily Mirror lays focus on the Prime Minister's announcement that pupils will not return to schools in England before 8th of March, describing it as a roadmap to nowhere. The paper says the plan makes its campaign raising money for basic tools to help poorer children learn at home even more crucial. Read the full report on pages 4 and 5. Listeners, that brings us to the end of tonight's UK's national newspaper front pages review with me, Zainab Njaiba. Stay tuned to Mamos Radio for the rest of our news program. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, have a good evening.
We'll be back with the Mandinka News with Lamin Marong and the Wall of News with Asan Bajan. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum badi ngolum bali konton na tulun al konton di mala annal badi mala Lamin Marong dol kay kiyam man sam felen dunta bele moy kan Mamos la redi bumbala kondal ta ka kibaro mu futandale wato wati binkana wol ke wajanin ka ke fonsi molu nin ka folu tentu men ya lonko kan sembentu ya fanna bela wol kono tridi kam la kafuba mbeten tulam be jayle la dokula be dawda anin nenos mamoni media la foundation be Gambia be dokula la controna ani Mamos la dokula be Gambia bantalamba fole be ala barka ba ke ala ke kende ala semenke ngakibaro ko folo di la janan kadun kibaro nyi famo kono bari mo nyin tembento GPA memo Gambia Port Authority iko ni watulu be korosiroke kan me ya lon ko na bajen jongolu membe na kombo tundola iko ye korosiroke pour ka juben ibe demaro kala nyamen kanto ni watulu ya jele ko wamo ka dunnan pour ka abe dulaliti nyakan wora be dunkan sate kono iko mbo kibaro futandalima anin fanan ST ko alalon ko na denkila jata ba ni watulu ayala kontan baliya itandi ako Independence Stadium membe bakaw ko adalta kala concerto minkije nakana la tulumba nyiki warna bal album launching kala ko ni watulu ya bali anu ya wol kibaro funtinde anu wata ST fango birka mon kolamu anu anyin kibaro ni banke intuba karatambila tlemuon intuba karomba kono atlemuon anin sei ako ala jusla baliya aya itandi stadium wala tumomena ani dakorta kana pour kala nyin concert me ala ka sango sanga ka keje bari nginan iya bali ayanda kala album men lonje men kala dinde mansa album o nyinti mbo kibaro fanandila la ko president Adama Barrow nyin tembola ko anin Chinese solu la ambassador membe Gambia anila fanko bundala waran ila jada kenya bundala nyi watulu walul kafuta pour que bulo fay Gambia kan pour ka na kadam fulalu men yalon ko shebe sanyum wan dumala ko ye dema kame kodoto mentada fo million fula iko benyin parti nyin warange benyin nyin nyoki jolo biriba kachanyin ke kan yake nyin tubabu karo atlemuan anin say anun ata president Adama Barrow be mabering anun ay mul fanan jia me ya lonko Chinese sola embassy obejang anin memo Her Excellency ma Jung Chung anun Chinese sola jadakandia la timolu men fana bejang anul be dakete biriba nyin bemba nyin kekan anun na ministry member baden jadakandia bunala Dr. Amadou Samate o fana mabe tajele mbo kiwaro fana futandalma anu ko ni watol fanan Gambia Masakunda wol fanan ila wo senyi tandi ani ko ba fala fanan ko ni molme yalan ko nyante ke bondinan bantla banko do pour que sayndidan iko ya bayle follow ministre membe marling bantla banko kunyala ni Gambia non membe tubabu ani bantla iko nyin keda kutin safale ko ila na pour que sayninan Gambia ya londi le follow mentara fu motan ani nani nyante ke sayninan ke bondinan jamani banko kan iko bari bayin tembo ni mento ya ablondi la follow o kibaro point le sa fambo fana futan dalma NPP iko ya jeko wara moy bankero ke iko abe taka nyamin abe kala pati jama bale burkala Gambia nyin kan iko ya jiki anu ya lonno ko ni NPP party nyin politician kotolu men ya lonko e fahamuro ke ni na da political fanala iko lelbe bamburu ngakoma ani la political la nyi ka nyamin abe pati jama la burkala Gambia banko nyin kan standard la newspaper le safe mbo ke baro fana futandalma anun faya fabis mera ko dimba kila lalu jatolu ko ni watolu ifana bela woshe itandi la police lafi mole kafuma anun police tamo ni sone andila nyame puru dimbalu men kabo waran takal men kabo ni watolu puru isi afano nyame yen kibaro ni banke ni arba tambila forea la newspaper to ko be nidla warebe solara mulu la men ya lonko isi dake fe anun puru katamo ni fana sone andi puru isi la duko kena nyame Gambia banko nyenko ya hamenu nyame for la newspaper yo safe ise menke ron ngadum kibaro nyi fango kono GPA menkere Gambia Port Authority ti anin iko wol watulu wala ni watulu wala be konsuro ke kan purkaji be demaro futan la nyamin ni nata ni wamo menka Gambia la dulalu tinya purka wolu dema nyamin waran purka wolu bonde nyamin iko ni watulu ye wala tamanta monke anu be india mo ke kan talata tambila me ya lonko e mulu anin kibar talalu kafutema dulalu korositaring le kafuba waran company me ya lonko wala maran do ko nyina wala nyatun ko me ya lonko kafa sino maji lak ani Omar Jang ñunu be ko ye sawarta ani be wakilling pour kaje ye tamaya men soteto pour kaje damen ya lon ko jie o wamo kala fe kaje litinya ibe wala ko rasir kan damen ya lon ko fanan pour que sing pour que fanan dur ke si jie ni si bort no nyamen ko ko rasiro ni bekele anon da janga continue ta ko ngalo ne jiko men sotonte anu be du ko ni menkela mbafale na nyon sotula nga korsiro kele anu nga lonne moner bi nyanta keke pour kaje ko ye lanno nyin tamaya men sotonna men keda en GPAT ye tamaya men sotonna ko no tamaya mba ma fala lante ite jiki kana jikila tay kibar bunna men safe wala Mamos la mediati andong fanan ko nyin watolu Independence Stadium ko nyanda ka concerto menke me ya lonko en meye e daka kachanin to menke da STT birkama boyo ko jama ka fo nyamen ko nyin tubabu karo tilmu anin sei akoy na tana kibaro nyin soto ko ST ala kafuba wara ala denkila la grupolu wara molmembe ya lonko lel ba koma ko na ta letro soto pruka moy membota Independence Stadium la nyaton kolubulu ko ilaftaka damen ware ka damen ke la concert lato men ke da bakaw Independence Stadium to ko ila dinde mans albo nyata kamen launch nying tubabo ka waran february karo men kana atil woro ko iya bayle ite ko ita keno la je e kondung esti la nying album launching kula me yalon ko ka kele sango sang anu nga ka wat kilingolala anu nying sanji sabol men tambita aka ke independence stadium moloto ako anung inila wata koro nying itulu nin kemelemu ya tang nano nyim fang be dundile purka ila joro nyi menyete ka ke nyanda ko kenu already inyi watu nyi kono ako sain ni kari warawulo men tambita ye dokulu kuma sele purka je fengulu me ya lon ko elain concert ba bolo kanin kan e kuma setele purko fengulu be nyini purke ke puriata parerin puro akana ke kudombe dukuna tela iko kodo men dunta kono asiyata bake ibeni wato menna kantum lalmu me kenyi independence stadium de sango senge ka koldo ani d'accord kana foy kodo fango do dundi pour ka joro nyinke nyanta ka damento nyinke concert nyinke dami ko bar menena rekela ni ku yanyinti ibeni membe ke kan ni januar karo atil tan ani lulu wato le na rakibaro soto wa letro soto stadium la dokula bulu iko me alon ko wala mo nyaton koti memo Mr Ibu Fay wonata ako ni kanyin damenta ta pour ka la consado ke je ita keno la je kotake tubar buna men safe wala mo Mamos la mediate e ko intembola president Adama Barrow ay Chinese soul ila nyatun kulu anila kafo me ya lonko wala li fana nyatun kiyata ni na ren kuran jawola ka londi nyame waran ka duko keje wala nata ka bloody nyola andung ina rafana ka bulu fengo di mentata gambe ko do million fula pour ya mendi gambe na football la le mensuel be sanji muang dumala ñin keda state house lañu januar karo til mon anin say an president Barrow ko bi ay ñin ana fana ñin cda ko bi ay Chinese solo men kete la jata kende abundala ani la Chinese ambassador men keda ha excellency madam Chai Chung anun ala jata kende alu la kafo yawul fanan giabi state house ñinto akodu wol fanan kono president fanana kafu balu arala molu o me alon ko ala ministry me ba jata kende bundala Dr. Amadou Samate o fana mabeta nyimbemba nyintole ako nyin ngani molumen soto bi pour ka nyin do ko nyin keda kutume ya lonko ye blodu Gambia koto pour que dema pour que kelo ke nyin kuran jawba nyimbe kerenten anun ka yitande fananko pour que jada kende fanko pour que o sementu ya Gambia kan sakonabe dande nyin kuran jawba la me ya lonko abe mol batande kan ani nata bul fen fanandila menna rek boro jamati anunge masingol fanandila me ya lonko asima ko no pour que londrike nyin kuran jawba membe kerme COVID-19 de ako nyin kari saba tambe kuma kani solu yela kafulu kinan me ya lonko ye karandirke dokula la menbe dokula nyin COVID-19 nyin dinkira nyinto anum purka je ko ka sutero ke sifaro la waranta man serolu men ya lonko anum ka tankaro fananke ni nata nyin kuren jabala ya aninka demaro fananke borolu la anin jorawlu menisi makoyno purka doko nyin keno ya hamenu nyame kanto ya alno ko nyin doko mudulat me alon ko je kuma ya tabake anu ngakole ya tabake Mamos la media le kibaro nyin fanan bonde anu nyawado fanan gambe man sekunda ko ni wato le londro kele ko e nyanda ka molmen deport nan ke bonne nan gambe Germany the ministry member maraling bant la bankulu ni Gambia no lukunyala anyi CDA akonga council ya baile follow pour ka motan ni nan nyanda Gambia no lu nyala ko nyanda ke bonne nan Germany araba tambila e ko be intembo nyimento ngabe londile minemba ko ma ko nyin covid nyin kura nyime kering iko Gambia no me ya lonko ye muta e be Germany la prison nyin kono ani be batundro la pour que sende nang tuba karo telemuang ani worowla iko flight on nyin menya dake samanan kabona Germany iko nyi watolu abelo tale anu nyin foreign minister continental la foreign minister ela diamula me musehu sisedi ako ala bayo nyin sunta ko ngakachalu nyin menke yani european la nemola ela finkra dolu wara ina Europe Germany la modolu ina wolel ba kacha kan pour ka bayro ke waran ka londro ke nyanda ka meni signed nan Gambia yayin banke ile be interview ke kan tumomena in point la newspaper kibara buna men fane bondi point la newspaper la safe ko NPP min tembo nyimento ko ya jiki ko abe political party jamale batandila Gambia banko nyin kan iko ibe pamela ani be paring pour ka nyi parti kuro men ka jura nyi nata ke wositi anu politician jamalo men ya lonko e politico faham wol be natela wosi dani tandi iko mon men ya lonko wolel be NPP koma waran president barola nyi parti kuto koma ko wolel mot men ya lonko e politico kalamata ani meta politico in koma iko wolel ba a dema kon koma pour ka a sementu ya ani nyimbekele sababu te me yalon ko abe politique party jamale burkala e be inkata ke kan standard la newspaper menkeda honorable Ahmad Bati ako anu wata honorable Ahmad Ba a telefonan keda moti me yalon ko ala politique party amanta abet ameta tamande kan sanyumu woni nan komanto memu National Reconciliation Party NRP iko wala keta party follow me yalon ko NPP ya buruka anu wat Ahmad Ba kontinera ko ni ya korosi Adama Barrow aka politique sifa menke amulunta lako Senegal la Macky Sall anu Kenya la Uhuru Kenyatta nyinbe mo molete mi yalon ko la politique silo anin president Adama Barrow ta mulunta yarba akondum nyimbatin nale mojama be ifang sutela ko nyum patile mi yalon ko inasi dogo kenola anu asikeno iba midala fananko nyisikeno la party ngintile akonunga president Adamo Barrow ako ayaji itandile fananko nyaton ko ya sifa men abata mandikan anu mole fana me ya lonko alata ana jikita mulula ko ala nyaton ko ya wala ba moli sindila ma ana ka kanyamen ngene batna mulube sawarla ani be nyatle nala anu waka jikita fanan ko ala doku nya ananga ferolu melandi woba adema ala bakele anu nyimbe NPP party nyin aba sambala nyatole akwanu hanata fanan atatata fan fayi fonyo ako party nyimbe continental le at honorable Amaba a continental nyin fo anu atlemu tourist minister ti standard la newspaper ole kibaro nyin safe ni fire service me yalon ko dimba kelelalu wol fanan ko be hameda pour molisi kafuma anu molisi idemano fanan pour la tamoni si sone anu nyamen pour dimbalu men ka bo Gambia pour si fano nyamen ni Gambia la fire service ni araba tambila e kachani ke ni forea e ko ibe hamela pour ka do courant soto men si tamoni fanan sone andi pour ito la do ko menti la nyanto mende pour ka ke pour isi dimbalu fano kandunia jiben akatale fo dimamen ka bo wonde siya kemetile me yalon ko ni amira Gambia banko nyin kan o kakele atu Ahmad F Sane me yalon atlen kadek officer ti anu atle fana muila nyaton ko diamla normalan koti nyamu GFRS ayni banke banjul ako mbenyin men fokan belafla la pour molisi ibloka fuma anu ko kumandro soto kabonan kiyan tundola ko dimbañi men botaje pour alo fanan ko mo fanan mi jodo ata nyame yalan ko asiyobe sanji tan ani woro bar ko nyin fengol mebe mankering ayatna do ko nyin ko leatam bulo ami sanjay akoni amira dimba ka bo nyin kiyam ma fangol menkira lower river region ma fangol idi ako kula me yalan akatula kele anu ngako nyin ka mulu niekuya ana kan sunu bake ni sifa keda an buka mako ronyo futandino je anu nga kontinera ko nin kemelemu tan kononto nin kononto ni membe kadimba boke akaka summo lella anu mol fanan me yalon ko telefon be sabate dinkra ni mento e telefon ka saboboti ida akaka kulati me yalon ko be kumu bolla pour ka kumul sisindi wala ka ke dimba sababo jamati me yalon ko akake wotundol nyinna anu ana ka keno fanan ay keno lañino fananti kibar bunda men safe wala mu fore la newspaper de baadu ngo nyina mo kibaro te mu frère me temena pour ka fota dalma na be tata ko ma solo no le ninga fo ma fo kun saunta asalo na harma dia na soda malamu al baadi malamin marum dol kay kiyam man samba fla ni mbara fanyatan to
Thank you, listeners. That was the end of tonight's news review and commentary from the Mamos team.
Mamos media, Atlanta Modube, Alafu Mamos. Mamos media, Walanata Modube, Alafu Mamos. Television on the radio, La Carola, you let her get a bee, Morka, you the winning. Multimedia, Africa, and in diaspora. Atlanta Modube, Alafu Mamos. Mamos Media.